Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to my UFC 273 post-fight. The main event was Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie for the featherweight title. But there was so many notable fights on this card, and there is so much to talk about. You have the co-main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan in the controversial decision. Khamzat Chimaev is the hype train real versus Gilbert Burns and another controversial decision. There is so much to discuss for UFC 273. We're going to do it here live. We started doing these live post fights, probably like 6 months ago at this point. I love doing them. Guys, if you have any questions towards the end, at first I'm going to give all my thoughts and analysis because it's impossible for me to read the chat and then give my thoughts, without getting super distracted. So at the end, towards the end or second half of this stream, I'm going to read all your guys' questions. I'm mainly going to talk about the top 3 fights, but I'm probably going to talk about most of the fights on the card, at least most of the fights on the main card. So honestly, I think I did about 6 official predictions for this card. But my picks for the entire card, usually I'll post a picture on Instagram with my official picks. I got 2 picks wrong, and that was Petr Yan and also Mickey Gall, who lost on the prelims. So I had a great night, honestly, as far as my picks go. As far as my official picks went, the only prediction that I got wrong was Petr Yan. I got Garry, Dern, Chimaev, and Volkanovski. So before I get into my analysis for the main event, guys, do me a favor. I would greatly appreciate it if you like the stream. Run up the likes on the stream, share the stream with friends, and if you're watching for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on notifications. I put out prediction videos every single week. For every big event, I do a live post-fight show, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's talk about the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. Volkanovski TKOs him in the 4th round, standing TKO. And this fight was basically exactly how I thought it would go. Maybe a little bit more brutal than I initially predicted. Volkanovski, clearly the better fighter. He proved tonight that the Korean Zombie did not belong in the cage with him. He hurt him multiple times throughout the 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round. I think it could have arguably been stopped in the 3rd round, the end of the 3rd round. Clipped the Korean Zombie. He went down. There was some brutal ground and pound. Korean Zombie was kind of squirming a little bit, and I understand why it wasn't stopped, but they took a hard look in between rounds, and it could have easily been stopped. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. His corner really let him down there, but we'll talk about that in a second. But Volkanovski proved that he is going to be so incredibly difficult to beat at featherweight. I mean, a fresh Korean Zombie, and I know there's some talk whether or not he was injured or not, but he took the fight. A fresh Korean Zombie in round 1, and Volkanovski was just outstriking him, had nasty, brutal power, was hurting the Korean Zombie. I mean, from round 1, I already knew what was going on there. I just knew that there's no way. And I know people always say, oh, he's got a puncher's chance, and, the Korean Zombie has great, uppercuts and stuff like that. But the Korean Zombie, we've seen him get outstruck by Brian Ortega. He's getting up there in age. He's slower than Volkanovski. Volkanovski has an incredible fight IQ. Not only was he landing power shots on the feet, he was mixing in the takedowns at will. Korean Zombie showed some decent takedown defense, was stuffing some of the takedowns, but Volkanovski was really just mixing them in there to kind of, just to mix it up, honestly, and open up shots on the feet. Everything he was throwing was just hard, heavy power. I think it was in the 1st or 2nd round. I can't remember. Volkanovski really landed like a 4 or 5 punch combination with hard power shots, mainly hooks, and was kind of rushing in a little bit. Korean Zombie caught him with a counter left hook. Stung him a little bit. I wouldn't say he hurt him. But other than that, the Korean Zombie really did not do much in this fight. Volkanovski was taking him down at a high percentage rate. Volkanovski was landing at a high percentage rate. Volkanovski was chopping the legs. Volkanovski was moving well. The Korean Zombie was a slightly mobile punching bag tonight. And my initial reaction to this fight was a fight that I really didn't want to see. I thought it was a semi-compelling matchup, but I just thought that Volkanovski was far and away better than the Korean Zombie. And I thought that the UFC, if they were going to push the fight back, because this was a fight Volkanovski was originally supposed to fight in March at UFC 272. And I said, if you're going to push the fight back a month anyway, why not wait for Max Holloway? Maybe it's 2 months. Max Holloway could have been ready for tonight. And I really think the division needed Volkanovski versus Max Holloway. This was an incredible night of fights. There were some great fights on this card. But for me personally, the main event put a little bit of a damper on the night because it just, I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself. What makes me enjoy this sport is, one, the unpredictability, but two, the competitiveness. I like seeing two guys who think they're the best going back and forth, trying to win a fight, mixing in different aspects of MMA. And this is really not what it was. It was Korean Zombie looking for a one-punch KO, and it was Volkanovski just picking him apart on the feet repetitively. I don't know how many times the Korean Zombie was hurt in this fight. And if you go and you look back, at the Korean Zombie's career, let me just pull him up right here for a second. He just took this brutalization by Alexander Volkanovski. He took a fairly bad beating by Brian Ortega. Remember that spinning back elbow, brutal. Took that nasty upwards elbow by Yair Rodriguez. And I know there's plenty of guys that we can complain about that have took worse beatings. Brian Ortega being one of those with the Max Holloway beating and then the Volkanovski beating. But for me, I'm a huge fan of the Korean Zombie. And to see him get brutalized like that and just round after round after round with really nothing changing. And then you kind of see the doctor turn a blind eye to it. You look at the body language of the Korean Zombie in between rounds. It wasn't good. You look at the end of the third round where he was rocked or stung for like the 20th time and then almost finished with ground and pound. I feel like the doctor should have maybe stepped in at the end of the third round. I feel like Herb Dean could have stepped in at the end of the third round. I feel like the corner should have stepped in at the end of the third round. We saw Jared Cannonier. It ended up being a stoppage anyway. Jared Cannonier, when he brutalized Derek Brunson's team corner threw in the towel. And it ended up being a stoppage anyway. At the same time, they threw in the towel. We need to see more of that in MMA. What I love is seeing two guys compete. I don't like seeing one guy plot around, just being tough. They talk, oh, this guy is so tough. When your number one attribute is your toughness based on the promos, the commentary team, the way people talk about you, any analysis about you, most likely you're probably a punching bag. And I think the Korean Zombie is still a high-level fighter, but by no means does he belong in there with a prime Alexander Volkanovski. The only fight to make after this fight, and honestly, this fight should have never been made. It should have been Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3. That's the fight that has to happen. The first two fights were very close. I had Volkanovski winning both of them. The second one was very close. The first one I didn't really think was super debatable. I thought Volkanovski clearly won the first fight. Second fight was razor thin. That is the fight we need to see. And as I look through that featherweight division, I don't see a lot of people who I think have a good chance at beating Volkanovski. He just, has a variety of attacks, has elite level wrestling, has elite level submission defense, has elite level striking, has good power, unlimited cardio, toughness. Is there a more well-rounded fighter than Alexander Volkanovski? Because I don't know. I would rank, and we're going to talk about the co-main event, Volkanovski or Petr Yan, pound for pound, number one fighter in the UFC. I know it's super subjective, but Volkanovski, what is his weakness? Somebody tell me his weakness. He is so good. His reflexes are amazing. His power is good. I could just go on and on and on about all the skills that Alexander Volkanovski possesses at featherweight, and there just isn't enough time, honestly. But I want to see him against Max Holloway. The first two fights were controversial. I personally thought Volkanovski won them, but I think they're the two best guys in the division. Holloway just went out there, got a big win over Yair Rodriguez. I think, let him get his title shot. It's the fight to make right now. I don't want to see anybody else fight Volkanovski as it stands. There's a lot of fun guys kind of making their way up the ranks. You have Bryce Mitchell making his way up the ranks. Who else? I can't think of off the top of my head. But there's other guys out there that we could see Volkanovski fight in the future. I mean, he's on his way. He wants to fight 3 times this year. 3 times this year. And, I mean, I don't know. You got Arnold Allen as well. I knew there was other guys. You got Josh Emmett coming off a win. Yair just has a loss to Holloway, but who wouldn't love that matchup? I would like that matchup more than I like the Korean Zombie matchup. But, again, Volkanovski just showing that he is a world-class fighter, has elite-level skills, and Korean Zombie did not belong in there with tonight. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. If you guys don't already follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MMAJoeyC, it's down in this little banner here. You can let me know there. Let's move on to the fight so we can get to some questions. I'm going to read the chat after we get through these top fights. Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan 2. Aljamain Sterling gets the split decision. And I'm curious. Actually, I'm going to put a poll up real quick so we can look at the poll results afterwards. Who won? Let's see. Petr Yan, Aljamain Sterling. So there you go. I'll put that poll in there and we'll check that out after the fact. But I scored the fight for Petr Yan. And I admit that I have to go back and rewatch this fight. But I think this fight was clear as day. I don't think in the entire time I've had this channel, a little over 1 year now, 1 year, 1 week, I don't think I've called any fights outright robberies. I think Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling may be the first fight that I call an outright robbery. And I don't think that this is because I dislike Aljamain Sterling. I just think you look at the fight. I got to rewatch it. I will definitely rewatch it in the next week, and I will get back to you guys if I change my mind. There's a lot of times I rewatch fights and I change my mind. I just feel very strongly about this one. Rounds 2 and 3, unequivocally, Aljamain Sterling. By no means, even though the commentary was saying, it could have been a 10-8 for Sterling. I don't believe that. There wasn't a lot of damage being done in the second and third round. The second and third round consisted of Sterling in a scramble, catching a kick, taking him down, scrambling to the back, basically immediately in these weird scramble positions where, Yan kind of made quick decisions, as he got tripped up after a caught kick. Sterling just jumped on his back, and Sterling came in here with a drastically different game plan. But rounds 2 and 3 were clearly Yan. Rounds 2 and 3 were clearly Sterling. I misspoke there, so nobody criticized me for that one. Rounds 4 and 5 were clearly Petr Yan. He was outstriking him, taking him down, controlling him on the ground and pound. The only round I believe was even remotely up for debate was round 1. And there is some people that scored round 1 for Aljamain Sterling. I vehemently disagree. Again, I have to go back and rewatch it. I don't see me changing my mind, but you never know. Petr Yan pushed the pace. In my opinion, he landed the better shots. He threw more shots. And even if you want to say the round is dead even on the feet, because the way the scoring works is first you have to score damage. Then if that's considered even, then you move on to octagon control, effective grappling. There was really no grappling in that first round, if my memory serves correct. Yan pressed the pace. So if you want to call all the striking even, which I don't think was even, I thought it was clearly cut and dry that Petr Yan took round 1. But even if you want to call it even, Yan had the octagon control, so that breaks the tie. Yan wins round 1. I don't remember Aljamain landing very much. I remember him landing like 2 or 3 shots. There was like a weird upward elbow that he landed towards the end of the round. I just think Yan clearly won the fight. Now, as far as the fight goes, and I think a lot of people are going to think that this is based in bias. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people saying this. I believe that everyone is biased, whether it's a conscious bias or not, but I do not believe this is coming from a place of bias. I do not think Aljamain Sterling looked that good tonight. That might be a hot take. I think it's going to be a hot take. I know he was very competitive in this fight, but the fight consisted of him controlling him on the ground for 2 rounds. And in the second round, he did do some damage, a little bit of damage. Third round, he did absolutely no damage, even though he had his back. Outside of that, I think Petr Yan just looked world-class as always. He was pressing the pace. He was outstriking him. He He was taking Aljamain Sterling down, controlling him on the ground, ground and pounding him. Yan looked world-class in my opinion, and I know that in those second and third rounds, it's Petr Yan's job to get up. It's not Aljamain Sterling's fought that Petr Yan isn't good enough to get up once he had his back, had that body triangle in. I agree to that. I understand that. But for me personally, and you guys might disagree, I'm sure some of you do, taking a guy and holding him down with virtually no damage, specifically the third round, I just don't find it all that impressive. I find that Sterling came in, he made adjustments. I believe he's still an illegitimate champion. I don't think that he should have got this decision. And I'm going to say it again. I have to go back and rewatch this fight. I don't believe my mind is going to change on this. Yan looked incredible. Outside of, he had no answer for the back mount in the second and third round. And I know if I say Sterling looked bad, well, how good did Yan look? Because if Sterling beat him, even if it was that close, I don't think it was that close. And I think with a few minor adjustments from Petr Yan, with the risk management, not getting caught up in a scramble where Aljamain Sterling gets his back, I think Yan is the far superior fighter to Aljamain Sterling. I do not want to see Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. I don't believe TJ Dillashaw has earned a title shot after injecting EPO into his body and trying to single-handedly close down the flyweight division, then coming back and getting a borderline robbery win over Corey Sandhagen. I didn't think that was a robbery, but I just think, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who really dislike Aljamain Sterling who are saying it out of a place of bias, but that's not me. I don't necessarily like Aljamain Sterling. I don't like the way he's handled the situation, but it's not coming from that place. I really believe that Yan was just a better fighter and won rounds 1, 4, and 5. And with that being said, let me compliment Petr Yan, because to lose that second and third round and being controlled like that and coming out still very aggressive in that fourth, fifth round and winning those fourth and fifth round very decisively. I mean, this guy just makes adjustment after adjustment. He just has to be more conscious of, in these weird scrambling positions, if you have to end up in full guard, end up in full guard. Do not try to scramble back to your feet so quickly that you turn your back, you post on both hands, and then let a guy like Aljamain Sterling get your back. I do admit that, Aljamain Sterling was very dominant, controlling him there. But what did he do with it? Somebody tell me, what did he do with it? He did nothing. He won those rounds. He didn't really do much with it. The second round, he did okay. He did land some ground and pound. But I think it was a clear-cut and dry win for Petr Yan. He was landing good combinations with the hands. He was landing good body shots with body kicks. He was landing good leg kicks. The pressure was unbelievable. The cardio looked good. What he needs to work on is avoiding those really, really bad positions. But he was able, going in this fight, I was confident in Petr Yan. I did not see a way that Aljamain Sterling could beat him. And Aljamain Sterling found a way to do it. I just think that Aljamain Sterling is still a paper champion. It's just my opinion. You guys will have to let me know what you think. The fight was fun to watch. I know a lot of people kind of said it was boring. I thought it was still a fun fight to watch. Seeing the momentum shift from Petr Yan in round 1 to Aljamain Sterling in round 2 and 3 to then Yan in 4 and 5 was incredible. I felt like it was a roller coaster ride. And I really thought, going to that fifth round, Yan was really starting to light Aljamain Sterling up on the feet and win the fight. And let me just say this, Aljamain Sterling, his striking is god-awful. It is some of the worst striking I've seen in MMA. And it's crazy because he is one of the best bantamweights in the world, without a doubt. He was not getting enough respect coming into this fight. There's no doubt about that. But I'll tell you this, his striking just looks atrocious. He was literally just standing square looking at Petr Yan and just throwing like little weird shots to then duck under and look for the takedown. Petr Yan, even though he got taken down those 2 times and controlled, and I think he got taken down one other time but not giving up the back mount, his takedown defense looked good. He has super fast reflexes. There was a couple times where he was going to defend the takedown, and in those takedown defense efforts, almost headbutted him because he was so quick with his reflexes, with his reaction. He saw Aljamain Sterling looking for that takedown. And he was just able to stuff him. There was in the 5th round, Yan was able to take Sterling's back. I think Yan looked very good in this fight. I think he easily wins the trilogy. I think that Aljamain Sterling is an illegitimate champion, and I hate to say it. I really do. I'm not one of these people who cry about close fights. If it's a close fight, he could have won either way, which we're going to talk about a close fight here in a second. I just think this was a competitive fight, but I thought it was a clear win for Petr Yan, rounds 1, 4, and 5. I really believe that. And again, I'm going to go back and rewatch, but that's my analysis for the fight. Yan's striking looked crisp. He looked like he improved. He had great leg kicks, great body kicks. He was landing good punches on the feet. Sterling really landed nothing on the feet. Nothing. I didn't see him doing anything on the feet at all. The striking looked atrocious. I don't know the last time I seen such a high level fighter with such bad striking like Aljamain Sterling has. It was just god awful. It was embarrassing. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, he proved the haters wrong, and he did this and he did that." Everybody doubted him, and he won anyway. I don't think that's the case. I think Aljamain Sterling did marginally better than we expected him to do. So, all right, let's move on to the fight of the night, in my opinion, and that is Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. And what a fight this was. Absolutely incredible from start to finish. It is a rare magical moment in MMA when you have a fight hyped up as much as Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns, and it lives up to the hype, and it even exceeds expectations. There's a lot of time the hype, even if you get a marginally good fight, it just doesn't live up. It's just maybe right here. It doesn't live up to the hype. In my opinion, Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns exceeded expectations. Now, going into this fight, by the way, Khamzat Chimaev won by decision. Who would have called that? In my opinion, this fight was the best fight on the card, and I think it was a classic fight that we will be talking about years from now. I think it was that incredible. There were so many questions answered. As far as who I scored it for, I scored it for Khamzat Chimaev rounds 1 and 3. I thought it was a razor close fight, though. I thought the 3rd round could have went either way. I thought that Khamzat clearly won round 1. I thought Gilbert Burns clearly won round 2. And I thought 3 was up for grabs, but I barely gave it to Khamzat Chimaev. It was a coin flip on round 3. I think anyone, regardless of who you thought won, anyone claiming that it was a robbery, I think is a little bit disconnected from reality. But some people might think about that. That's my assessment of the co-main event. So some people might think that's me. And I also believe that there is going to be a group of people. There's probably some of you guys maybe watching this right now. You'll have to let me know in the chat. That look at this fight and they say Khamzat Chimaev was exposed because we did see some deficiencies. Khamzat did not just go out there and run through Gilbert Burns. But I believe that Khamzat Chimaev really proved himself tonight. In that first round, he came out, he charged across the cage, immediately started looking for a takedown, showed his strength and power, got Gilbert down. Gilbert got back to his feet, and he started landing heavy shots on the feet. And towards the end of the first round, he hurt Gilbert Burns with a jab. And Khamzat Chimaev's jab is just incredible. It is very fast. He pumps it out there constantly. I've said for a while now, even though he hasn't fought elite of the elite competition, he's shown good striking fundamentals. And he went out there and showed that regardless, I don't care if you think Gilbert Burns won. I don't think, I think there is some people that believe Gilbert Burns won, and I think that is a fair opinion to have. Regardless of who you think won, Khamzat Chimaev proved tonight at UFC 273 that Khamzat Chimaev belongs with the elite of the elite at welterweight. I don't believe, obviously there's some people with unrealistic expectations of Khamzat Chimaev, but without that, a little bit of an outlier where people are saying he's going to be 4-division champion, blah, blah, blah. He belongs with the elite at welterweight. There's no doubt about that. I mean, not only did he show that he can beat a guy like Gilbert Burns, he showed that he has decent cardio. I know there's going to be people saying Khamzat was tired at the end of round 3, and he was tired. There's no doubt. Look at the output of that fight. And Khamzat Chimaev, outside of that initial grappling exchange, he didn't look for many takedowns. He was willing to strike with Gilbert Burns, and he ate quite a few shots. In the second round, I think he got clipped with a right or left hook. I can't remember what it was. It was nasty. Khamzat was stung quite a bit, and he backed up for a second, and then he just kept plotting forward. Khamzat was massive for the weight class. Gilbert Burns went for a couple takedowns. Khamzat's pressure was unreal. Khamzat's output was unreal. Khamzat's leg kicks were very great. His variety of attack was great. He was looking for body kicks. He had a good fight IQ. There was times, where he started to get in a bit of a firefight and he was getting clipped up, and he started to kind of pause, reset, maybe look for a clinch against the cage. But I also want to say, the people who were saying Gilbert Burns did not belong in there, you guys were wrong, completely wrong. Gilbert Burns is an elite world-class welterweight. This was a very competitive fight that he could have won. And I believe that we may see a Khamzat Chimaev Gilbert Burns rematch down the line. And that was one of the greatest fights that I've seen in a while, especially compared to the hype that was there. It's so rare that we get this crazy amount of hype and then it lives up to it. I mean, it was nonstop action from start to finish. The third round, the third round was a coin flip. Khamzat clearly won the first round. He was landing on the feet. He was landing the better shots. He got Gilbert Burns down. He dropped him at the end of the round with a jab and then followed up with solid ground and pound. And then the second round, Gilbert was not deterred. He came out bloody. He was bloodied at the end of the first round. He was throwing heavy shots. And there was quite a few times that Gilbert Burns was stung. People talk about Gilbert Burns' chin, when it comes to the Dan Hooker fight and the Usman fight. And Gilbert Burns in this fight was stung quite a few times, hit by heavy shots. But he hung in there. He recovered. He recomposed himself. And at no point in this fight, there's so many times, and I've talked about it plenty of times on the channel, there is guys that start getting lit up and losing a fight, and they pack it in and they don't try to win the fight. They just try to survive. That was not Gilbert Burns. Khamzat was cutting him off, backing him up against the cage, and Gilbert Burns was just letting loose. The third round was so good. I can't wait to go back and rewatch this fight. It was 50-50 in my opinion. Coin flip up in the air. Khamzat won the early exchanges, and then Gilbert Burns maybe won the last 2 minutes, landed some good shots. I just think Khamzat did a little bit more damage in that third round, and that's what I gave it to him. But I would not argue with you. I think there's an argument to be made that Gilbert Burns won the third round. I don't think the other 2 rounds are up for debate. Khamzat undoubtedly, unequivocally won round 1, and Gilbert Burns unequivocally won round 2. The third round is the round in question. I have no problem giving it to either guy. I personally think Khamzat did a little bit more damage. I think he was a little bit more active early on, and I think he barely edged out that round. And again, there's going to be people saying, look at Khamzat, because he got clipped quite a few times in this fight. He has some striking deficiencies. He's not invincible. People are going to say that, but for me, he exceeded all expectations. I picked him to win this fight. I thought he'd finish Gilbert Burns, but I still had a massive amount of respect for the skill level that Gilbert Burns has. And for Khamzat to go out there and win a 3-round battle, to watch him face adversity, to see him get 15 minutes of cage time, to see all his variety of attacks, to see his initial game plan go out the window after, he wasn't really able to control Gilbert Burns on the ground and just strike with him. The output, the pressure, the octagon control, the ability to just sidestep and cut off Gilbert Burns. The right hand was looking picture perfect all night. He was switching stances, pumping the right jab. The jab looked incredible. It's just, I mean, I don't think in this fight, regardless that Khamzat faced a little bit of adversity, I don't think his stock goes down. I think he is beatable, but I thought that before regardless. But he elevated my assessment of his skill set after this fight. I thought he was a great fighter. But to go out there, fight a guy like Gilbert Burns and win the fight in the manner that he did in a decision, which a lot of people say, oh, he's going to start him in the first round. And I made a video. We were talking about it in the members only Discord. Guys, if you want to become a member and support the channel, you get a bunch of benefits. One being the members only Discord. The link is down in the description. It costs $3 a month. But we were talking in the Discord. I made a video about 2-3 weeks ago, and I said that Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns should have been made 5 rounds. Everyone called me crazy. Now, I do admit that had this been 5 rounds, maybe we wouldn't got as crazy of a fight, because maybe they would have paced themselves a little bit more. But this being a #1 contender fight, I wish it would have been 5 rounds. I really wish it would have been. But again, I'm not going to complain. We still got a 3-round classic. We still got a fair assessment of both guys' skills. We got a lot of questions answered. You know, people were writing Gilbert Burns off as, you know, he has no chin. He's too small for the weight class. He was able to defend takedowns from Khamzat Chimaev. He was able to hang in there with the grappling of Khamzat Chimaev. He was able to absorb the power of Khamzat Chimaev. I think that Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns, both their stock goes through the roof. I think it's elevated. I think there is an endless amount of fights for Khamzat Chimaev now. I would love to see him against Colby Covington, which Dana White says is the next fight. That sounds a little weird to me. That sounds like a Dana White. Colby's trying to negotiate a new contract, and Dana White now wants to throw him to Khamzat. I would have no problem with that. I think there's a chance, and I made a video about this last week. Khamzat Chimaev could leapfrog Leon Edwards and get a title shot over the summer, fight Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title, and I absolutely am hyped for that fight. And on a list of most compelling fights, #1 or #2 is Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev right now for me. Okay, guys, I'm going to quickly go through some more fights, and then we're going to get to the questions. So, guys, sometimes the chat gets a little bit cut off. So do me a favor. Start posting your questions in the chat. I'm going to get to them in about 2 minutes after I take a drink and briefly go through the rest of the card. And when you ask a question, throw some question marks in there so I can easily find it, because I know some of you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. Okay, real quickly. And guys, don't forget to like the stream. Please do me a favor and like the stream. Okay. Mackenzie Dern versus Tecia Torres. Mackenzie Dern gets the win. I thought Dern would get her down and submit her. Both girls have terrible striking. Joe Rogan was already complimenting Dern's striking 10 seconds into the fight. Her striking looks to be the equivalent of someone who accidentally knocks a beehive out of a tree, and the bees start swarming her, and she just starts trying to run around waving off the bees. The striking looks atrocious. The grappling looks good. Tecia Torres' submission defense was incredible. She defended a Kimura. She defended a leg lock. I thought Mackenzie Dern won 2-1. I thought 29-28 was a fair enough decision. Tecia Torres has no power, did no damage, and that's basically my assessment of that fight. Mark Madsen versus Vinc Pichel. Not a great fight. I thought Mark Madsen basically edged it out with the grappling. Vinc Pichel was complaining about being held down, but you have to be able to get up. I said that about Yan versus Sterling. I'm going to say that about that fight. You have to be able to get up. You can't get up, you're going to lose the fight. Ian Garry, Darian Weeks. Ian Garry wins via decision. And, you know, I said in my preview for this, I expected Ian Garry to win. Darian Weeks is a borderline UFC fighter, in my opinion. And Ian Garry, you know, there's a little bit of hype behind his name. I haven't seen anything incredibly crazy. I don't think the guy's that good yet. You know, he's still very young. He could get better. But I think any expectations and the way he talks a little bit, I think that his talking is a little bit much considered his current skill set. Let's see if there's anything else I want to bring up on the card. Now I think that's pretty much it. I mean, Julio Arce, Daniel Santos, first fight on opening the card. The bantamweight division is stacked. Julio Arce wins via decision. Just a methodical fight. Aleksei Oleinik wins via scarf hold. I mean, what's Aleksei Oleinik doing at this, at this point in his career? He's like 75 years old, still winning fights via stoppage. And that's pretty much all the notable fights. I only got 2 picks wrong on the full card, and one was Petr Yan, the other one was Mickey Gall, who got starched by Mike Malott. All right, guys, now let's get to questions. I went through some of the card. I don't want to make this post-fight too long. Let's get to the questions, guys. Okay. So 51% says Petr Yan wins. 49% says Aljamain Sterling. I'm actually shocked by that. It's that close. Okay, guys. The chat kind of got cut off, so I'm gonna kind of read everything I can read, and I'm gonna start. Let's see. French Fry said, still mad. I bet Khamzat by finish and lost. I feel bad for you. That is annoying. Volk probably wanted to fight. It's an easy paycheck. I agree. Chimaev proved himself. I don't care what a fight. I agree. Other than Max, who is giving Max a fight? Cater? Are you talking about who's giving Volk a fight? I don't think anyone. I can't believe Yan lost. I was surprised. Even going to the scorecards, and I don't trust the judges, I thought Yan would most likely get it. Alex is going to stop Max in the third fight. Volkanovski is just ever evolving, which is just crazy. Now we needed to see something else besides Max versus Volk. Max and Volk will meet again someday. Yeah, but why do we need to see Korean Zombie get brutalized, Pitties? I think Josh Emmett can hang with Volk. Solid on the feet, good power, great wrestling, good ground game, good in the clinch. Yeah, let's see if he can get there. Volk put on a clinic. Chimaev is good, but not what we thought he was. For me, he exceeded my expectations. So, Yair would have been a better main event. I agree. Yair would have had a better chance at beating Volk. Max taking that belt back. Okay, we'll see. I doubt it. Then Arnold. I think Josh Emmett can hang with Volk. Okay, read that. The bias for Yan is unreal. I disagree. Max is the only one that can compete with Volk. Not so he beats Volk, though. Not saying he beats Volk, okay? To be honest, I think Aljo got 1, 2, and 3. I just don't see 1. I'll have to rewatch it. Yan won. I have to watch the first round again. Not a lot of action. Yes, I agree. Khamzat was moving like Nick Diaz. What? I guess prime Nick Diaz, not recent Nick Diaz. I think it all goes down the first round. I gave it to Aljo, so the fight is for Aljo. But for me, his striking sucks, and he has good grappling and submissions. That's all. Okay, fair enough. Anyone have the striking numbers? I don't pay attention too much to the numbers anyway. Half the time, I feel like they're wrong. Aljo's footwork gives him no power, and his punches, it's like Dominic Cruz. Yeah, and he's always standing square to his opponent. I think Josh Emmett can hang with... Okay, read that. Exactly, his punching power is non-existent. All he does is control someone on the ground. That's it. Doesn't even have good ground and pound either. Yan, Gall, Whitaker, Colby, all were robbed of wins or draws. What a hilarious coincidence. I disagree. Gall was not robbed, Whitaker was not robbed, and Colby definitely was not. Or Colby wasn't robbed either. Could have been a draw, though. I agree. Just glad my main event streak is still alive. Yeah, I think Volk was pretty much a lock for this fight. They wanted to give Aljo 10-8 for round 2. What about round 4 and 5 for Yan? Those were both 10-7s if that's the case. I do agree with you that rounds 4 and 5 for Yan were more dominant than 3 and 4 for Aljo. So that 10-8, the commentator speculation on that was ridiculous. Aljo's on EPO, so it would be even okay. Sterling figured out a way around being knocked out by running for dear life. One thing I wanted to mention, and you guys will have to let me know, do you think Aljamain Sterling was almost praying that Yan would throw another illegal knee? It seemed like he was hanging down there, just waving his little head around, waiting to get kneed illegally by Yan so he could put on another acting performance. It just seemed like it. Colby versus Chimaev will be money. I would be hyped for that fight. I don't think Colby's taking that fight, though. Josh Emmett could hang with Volkanovski. Yan is a beast. He's much better fighter than Aljo, in my opinion. I actually agree with you on that one. Aljo deserves respect for going out there and fighting his heart out. He ain't no clown like people say he is. I mean, Aljo's always been one of the best 135ers. I still don't think he's better than Yan, though. I thought Chimaev would beat up Colby pretty convincingly. After the night, I think it will be close either way. If it's a 5-round fight, I wonder about the cardio, but I think Chimaev beats up Colby badly. Let's assume Aljo lost. Even there's a gap between Yan and Aljo in the rest of the division. Sandhagen's fight with Yan and Sterling show the gap between Aljo and Sterling. Sandhagen, fair enough. Emmett is a quality fighter. Is Volk the best MMA fighter on the planet right now? Skill for skill, yes. Him or Yan. Aldo beats Aljo, in my opinion. It all depends, man. It all depends. Aldo fades in the later rounds. Chimaev gassed against Burns in 3. I don't know if he could last against Colby in a 5. I disagree, man. 1, he did not gas. 2, the output was insane. A 5-round fight, he would conserve his energy a little bit better. Agreed, Joey. The footwork is awful for Aljo. He has no power. He has decent kicks to the body. Yeah, that's the only thing he has is good power kicks. The footwork is atrocious. The power is atrocious. The hands are atrocious. It just looks like, I don't know. I mean, Tecia Torres has better striking than him. If Aljo sucks, Yan is an amateur for 2-0. Yan has some footwork. Has some work to do. All Aljo champ. Disagree. Volk is up there, but the best skill for skill is the GOAT, the real GOAT. You love saying that. Aljo fought like a coward. He fought to win. I don't know if he's necessarily fought like a coward, but he fought to win. It is what it is. We don't have to like it, but that's what he did. Yan won, though. I agree. Rewatching the first as I type this, and I still think Aljo takes round 1 off output alone, but nothing landed for Aljo. Yeah, super frustrating to watch an Aljo fight. Yeah. I'll have to watch it again, but live, I thought Sterling won round 1. That's surprising me. I thought a lot of people were going to agree with me. It looks like it's pretty much split. Who does Yan fight next? Got to be Aljamain Sterling. Yeah, Aljo's striking really sucks. No power, no nothing. Let's quit pretending. Taking someone's back and holding him on the floor is being a coward. Aljo's striking isn't that bad. I never said taking his back and holding him was being a coward, but his striking is bad. What is Ray Longo doing with Aljo's footwork? I thought he was a boxing expert. And he even was saying after the first round, oh, you clearly won. You broke him. What was he watching? I give the fight to Aljo, but his striking is bad. Colby's at 170. He would have to cut the same amount. Would gas worse against Colby and a pressure fighter with better wrestling than Gilbert. It'd be interesting for sure, but I think Khamzat beats Colby. Best fight for sure. I'm proud of Gilbert, and I picked Khamzat heavy. Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimated Gilbert. By far the best fight. I wish it was 5 rounds. Do you remember the video I put out 3 weeks ago? It's titled, it's got Khamzat and Gilbert in the thumbnail, and it says, "This sucks." It's called, "I have a serious problem with Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns." And my complaint was that it should be 5 rounds. I would say Khamzat got exposed. He proved himself, but I just thought he was better, basically. I think he proved himself tonight. I disagree with you at least. I can't say he's as good as I thought he was. You must have had unrealistic expectations. He's better than I thought he was, and I thought he'd win this fight, and I thought he'd win by finish. Colby's ready to get that ass whooped. Colby's going to lose, probably. He fought the number 2 ranked guy and was out for a while with COVID and skin. Okay. Yeah, Vince, but Khamzat wrestling didn't look great against Gilbert. I think Colby could out-wrestle him. I don't think Colby's out-wrestling him. I think Khamzat would outstrike Colby. Khamzat's striking is as good as I thought it was, if not better, honestly. I mean, his striking looked really good tonight, and Colby's pillow punches aren't putting him out. I think Khamzat should fight at his natural weight class. He might not gas out. I don't think he gassed out, man. I don't think he gassed out. 2 out of 22 takedowns wins you a title. Hell no, Colby could not take him down. I agree, Colby's not taking him down. It'd be interesting in the later rounds, though, if it was a 5-round fight. Yeah, I thought he could take the fight to the ground. At will, he barely took Burns down. That was very interesting. But he adapted, and he won on the feet. Khamzat had his coach mad for not wrestling. Yeah, maybe he made a conscious effort. I mean, he didn't shoot on a lot of takedowns. Colby versus Khamzat for the title. Did they book a date for Usman Edwards? No, they did not. That fight is not official yet. Burns has 0 credentials in wrestling, and yet he nearly got him down round 2. Colby's NCAA Division 1. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, at least now it's clear Leon versus Kamaru, and Khamzat not going to steal it. I disagree. I think Khamzat could definitely steal it. Khamzat versus Colby or versus Usman will still be competitive. Khamzat could beat them, but wouldn't bet on it. I agree. That zombie fight Volkov was such a mismatch. I agree. I'm glad the Khamzat looks human now. Hopefully, he continues to grow. What's up? Burns actually fought a tough fight. Good performance. Yeah, I think it shows how good Gilbert Burns is, and as well as how good Khamzat Chimaev is. Burns of tonight would beat Colby and Usman. I've always favored Burns over Colby. Volk is great everywhere. Not good. Agreed. Still booed Sterling after a fair and square win against Piotr. MMA fan. I don't think he won fair and square. I think it was a borderline robbery. I think Burns can beat Kamaru Usman as well. I agree. If he doesn't get, he didn't gas out. Kamaru Usman was able to knock out Burns. Khamzat wasn't, so it's clear who has better knockout power. And that's not always 100% true. Chimaev versus Usman to me is a coin flip, but Colby versus Chimaev, I think Khamzat wins. For me right now, I'm probably picking Chimaev against everyone. It's very rare that a guy that with as much hype as Khamzat I go with, just because usually I go with more experienced guys than a guy who's on the come up. I believe Colby would beat Khamzat. Disagree. Discord was popping during the fight. Agreed. Dude, hey guys, if you want to join the members only Discord, it is $3 a month. We got a great community of almost 30 people in there. We message live during every fight tonight. Once you sign up, even just for 1 month, you will be in the Discord forever. The link is down in the description. But you also get a bunch of other benefits, including a Khamzat Chimaev emoji you can use in the chat and comments, a loyalty badge next to your name, extra live stream replays, a bunch of stuff. So become a member. Your name will also pop up on this live stream and live here in infamy forever. Burns can beat Kamaru and Colby, but I would edge Colby because of the volume. Fair enough. Yeah, Colby beats Khamzat. Disagree. More of a Khamzat train. I'm more on the Khamzat train. Me too. Khamzat proved himself. Dana was bluffing about the Colby versus Khamzat. Asked me why. I believe it's something to do with a contract negotiation with Colby, in my opinion. Something along those lines. Yeah, nobody cares about Leon Edwards and Usman, so I hope he does get skipped over so we can get Khamzat Usman. I don't think a lot of people would complain. Torres has good striking, just no power. I think she has decent kicks. I don't think her striking is that good. Madsen is being to watch. I don't know what that. You're gonna have to elaborate on that one. I think Usman knocks out Khamzat round 3. It'd be an interesting matchup because Usman's got some nasty power. He's shown. Khamzat still has to hit his prime. He will only get better. I agree. And his striking just looks so good. Hey, Joey, that Chimaev fight, in my opinion, was the best fight I've ever personally watched live. It was an incredible fight. An incredible fight. Khamzat looked great. Gilbert looked great. It was back and forth. I think Calvin Kattar can give Alexander some problems. I don't think so. Let me do something real quick. Let me do a little something. Hold on, I had to change something real quick. Khamzat seems ready for anything. I don't know about ready for anything, but I'd be interested to see him against anyone, really. So I guess I agree. What we learned, Khamzat has will, chin, heart, and cardio. Fair enough. Remember back when they said something about Damian Maia versus Khamzat? What happened to Gerald? He believed they will step over him. Okay. I don't believe a knockdown was scored for Burns, by the way. Crazy. Insanity. His cardio seemed lacking. His chin didn't seem insane. I think his cardio looked good. Look at the output he put out. Yeah, double booking Muhammad. Can we give Sterling his props? No. Look, I mean, I gave him his props. He controlled Yan. I would still rather see Triple C versus Volk than anyone else in the 45. I don't want to see Henry Cejudo fight at 145. He's going to get annihilated. There's literally zero striking. I mean, zero. Even Ben Askren's better. I'm not sure how he's gotten this far like that. Yeah, Yan won round 1. I agree. Aljo's garbage. I disagree. Stays on his knees. He did do a lot of that. If I'm Aljo, I don't take the Yan fight right away. Yeah, he's not going to. He's not going to there for sure. I don't think he does. I do not think he does. The heart on Gilbert. He's a beast. Does Khamzat beat Usman in your view? I'd pick Khamzat right now. I would definitely pick Khamzat. I'm here in Jacksonville, and the crowd didn't seem to like Chimaev decision. That's crazy. How can you get exposed and beat the number 2 ranked guy? Doesn't even make sense. Bilal could beat Khamzat. I don't think so. I think Khamzat outstrikes him badly. He didn't want the smoke with Gilbert on the ground. Volk is too big for 45. He's built like a little king from Shrek. Kamaru would lay a whooping on Khamzat. I think it'd be competitive. I think it'd be very competitive. This Khamzat fight was like Khabib versus Al. He's still very good. Burns didn't quit this time. I think this Khamzat win was much more impressive than the Khabib win over Al. Khamzat would still KO Usman. He'd take that fight seriously. I think he took this fight seriously, and I think he looked good. You know, he beat the number 2 guy in the world. Gilbert Burns is good. People were dismissing him. He's very, very good. So, I think Khamzat looked very impressive. I feel like there's two groups of people now. There's the people that thought Gilbert had no chance, and they're huge Khamzat fans, and they're disappointed they didn't destroy Gilbert. And then there's the people that are just, you know, they don't like the hype train that is Khamzat, so they're looking for every flaw. I'm in the middle. I try to give a fair assessment. I think he looked impressive against the number 2 welterweight in the world. Forget Burns is 4-time BJJ champion on the ground. No one else has the ground game. I think Khamzat just wanted to prove something. It could be so. It could be so. How did they not score a single knockdown for Burns? He arguably did it twice. I don't remember Khamzat going down. Now I lost my spot. Guys, keep the questions coming. If you guys have a question, put it in the chat. Do not forget to like the stream. If you guys have not liked this post-fight yet for UFC 273, do me a favor. It only takes a second. Make sure to like the stream. Burns won the second, so I disagree with 3. 29-28 should have been a draw, in my opinion. What? I don't understand. If Burns won the second, Khamzat won the first, the third. Okay. I don't know. Styles make fights. Khamzat beats both Colby and Usman. I would agree with you, but I'm not super confident. After tonight, Khamzat beats Colby. I don't think he's ready for Usman. Yeah, he could get KO'd by Usman. I think the UFC doesn't want Khamzat beating all the guys before he wins the title because they will have no competition. They'll find something for him, though, but maybe. Yeah, the Chimaev fight, one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. I agree. I mean, I don't know about that. I think that's a little exaggeratory, but it was a great fight, especially compared to the level of hype that we had for it. For it to live up to like that was incredible. If Lan gets skipped over, if I was him, I'd ask for a release. Where's he going to go? Why are people saying Tecia got robbed? If her Taekwondo fight light strikes did so much damage, Michelle Waterson would have been champ by now. Hey, Joey, you doing a full watch-along for Bellator next week? AJ McKee versus Pitbull and Nemkov versus Anderson? Yes, my friend. Steve Wallang. Yes, I am. I am doing a full watch-along for Bellator next week. Some guy in the last promotion kept it standing with Khamzat. Khamzat just knocked him out. Just joined. Who do you think won the co-main feature? I thought Petr Yan clearly won. Rounds 1, 4, and 5. Colby and Usman kept it standing. I just don't think Colby has enough on the feet for Khamzat. Yeah, Colby's striking isn't that great either, but neither is Usman's. Joe, I found an interesting fact. Whenever they induct a fight to the Hall of Fame, there's a Hall of Fame worthy fight that happens on the card. Jones versus Gus. We had Zhang versus Joanna today. Cub fight and duck. What are you saying? Khamzat versus Burns deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? I think that's a little bit extreme. Whoever said Tecia got robbed needs new glasses. Yeah, I thought Tecia lost. Luque beats Khamzat all day. That'd be an interesting matchup. But I think Khamzat would be able to take him down, but could Khamzat avoid the submission? People are making it seem like beating Burns by decision is a loss. Yeah, I don't think it is. I think a lot of people had too high of expectations. Joe, in my opinion, out of all the matchups, Burns was the hardest stylistically for Khamzat. He passed the test with flying colors. I won't be nervous at all when he fights Usman or Colby. Okay. It was a bad decision. You telling me Burns didn't win a round? Burns definitely won round 2. Was there a 30-27 scorecard? 29-28 means that Burns won one round. So maybe I missed something. Maybe I missed the scorecards. I don't know. Why are people saying Tecia got... Okay, read that. Adversity is key for growth. Khamzat seemed to overlook Burns. He will be more level-headed coming into the next matchup. I don't think he overlooked Burns at all. I think Burns was just really good. I think a lot of people overlook Burns. I think that's why people are upset. 29-28 means Burns gets 1 round on the judges' scorecards. I'll have to go back and look at that, man. I don't remember him getting dropped. Dana White said Chimaev fight is one of the greatest fights he ever saw. I think Khamzat is too sloppy for Usman and Colby. I think he'll probably tighten that up a little bit against Usman at least. And Colby's sloppy as hell, and so is Usman anyway. I think Khamzat's the better striker than both those guys, probably. Yeah, I think Khamzat beats both those guys. If Burns couldn't submit Khamzat, I have a hard time believing anyone could, but you know MMA math never ever makes sense. Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of grappling here. How would you see a 5-round fight play out with Burns Chimaev? I think it would be more conservative. I'd probably still give it to Chimaev. I think he had a little bit better gas tank than Burns, or very close. But I think they would have slowed their output a little bit. Rank Chandler, Gaethje, McDonald, Lawler, Khamzat, Burns from 1 to 3. McDonald, Lawler's clear number 1. Khamzat, Burns probably number 2. Chandler, Gaethje probably number 3. But you could switch those two around. They all gave Burns a round. Okay. Leon can go to Bellator. Okay. Khamzat now knows he can't just go for the kill every second of the fight. He knows he was too cocky. Dude was sitting at the cage and clowning around in the locker room. I mean, he went out there and performed. You know what I mean? He can definitely learn from facing adversity, but he looked amazing, in my opinion. They were 29 for 28 for Khamzat. Sterling round 1 he outlanded Yan. I understand if Yan threw the more damaging shots, but he missed and barely threw anything. I thought he landed the more damaging shots. I don't believe in the fake statistics the UFC gives out. I'll have to rewatch it. I think it's possible. But even if it's dead even, Yan controlled the octagon. So, yeah, I don't know the scoring that well, but I thought when it announced the decision that was he won all the rounds. I'm probably just slow. No, 29-28 means 2 to 1. 30-27 means 3 to 0. Khamzat has a sweet jab from both stances. Yeah, he was constantly switching that southpaw stance and pumping the jab, and it was landing at will. I know you guys are going to disagree with me, but I think Colby and Usman would lay an ass whooping on Khamzat. I disagree. Khamzat said his coach was yelling at him to slow down and be more technical. Khamzat admitted he didn't follow and was hunting for the finish. He was definitely hunting for the KO. Okay, that makes sense. So do you think Khamzat Chimaev should be the next title challenger to Usman? I think he has a case to skip over Leon, honestly. Maybe they'll do Leon. The winner fights Khamzat. Khamzat needs a recovery. He took a decent amount of damage. Then, yeah, that fight could have gone either way. Razor close 3rd round. Joey was spot on with the 5-round video. Yes. Thank you, my friend. Volk GSP. I would actually probably agree with that. But recency bias is always heavy. Joey, I can't believe people are saying hype is over and he looked bad. Do people forget he's human? He fought the number 2 guy in the world, Gilbert Burns. Yeah, I think the hype is still alive, very much so. He's elevated for me, actually. You know, he faced adversity. He did very well. He showed some deficiencies, but he lost the 2nd round and he came back to win the 3rd. Bare minimum was a 50-50 3rd round. Where do you think Gilbert will fall in the rankings now? I don't know. He shouldn't fall far. Khamzat needs to take a massive jump up. But if I was ranking them, I'd go Colby still number 1. I'd go Leon number 2. Khamzat number 3. Gilbert number 4. Something like that. Something along those lines. Don't hold me to that 100%. I don't disagree in his 11th pro fight. Okay, I agree. I think Khamzat should be next. Yeah. Khamzat's, they're going to give him a title shot. It's just a matter of if they let Leon fight first. I wonder, they're having a big pay-per-view in October in Abu Dhabi. I'm wondering if they're going to do Leon versus Usman in the summer. And then the winner of that fight defends against Khamzat in Abu Dhabi main event. Gilbert may lose a spot or 2. Yeah, it's going to be tough to tell. I don't think it matters that much. But Khamzat's definitely up there now. You know, you beat the number 2 guy in the world. You don't necessarily steal a spot. I rank him, right now I rank him, I mean, bare minimum, at the absolute bare minimum, he's number 5. But I rank him above Bilal. I rank him above Vicente. I rank him above, You could really sit him at number 2, honestly. He's probably going to end up at number 2, but I would say 3. I would rank him behind Leon and Colby, in my opinion. But I don't think it means that much, honestly. Burns beats Leon and Colby. I agree. I still see a world where Usman retires after the Leon fight. That would be insane. That'd be a massive hit to his legacy. Gilbert okay. Yan is known for not doing much in round 1 and was taking notes instead of keeping up with the strikes. Okay. You move Khamzat. Okay, read that. Khamzat and Usman with Islam Charles below it. That'd be insanity. I can't put Khamzat over Usman or Colby in a 5-round fight. His cardio is a criticism no one's talking about after this fight. I don't think his cardio looked that bad. I mean, this is similar to the Rafael Fiziev cardio critiques. The output was insane. You know, I'm talking about the Fiziev Bobby Green fight. When you have a crazy output, of course they're going to be tired at the end of the 3rd round. They're going to pace themselves more in a 5-round fight. He wasn't sucking air terribly. He wasn't falling over in exhaustion. He was tired, but look at the output he put out. So, I'm the Defense. Did you enjoy finally joining the members-only Discord, man? That is the real question. All right, guys. Any final questions you have for me, put in the chat. I'm going to get ready and get out of here and go to sleep. You guys got an hour UFC 273 post-fight. Do not forget to like this stream. Do not forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed already. And thank you guys for joining me. Let's see if we have any final questions. I don't know why everyone in the stream has not liked it. We've had close to 40, 45 people all stream. And we have 28 likes. So what is going on here, guys? What is going on? Okay. I already knew Burns is the toughest challenge for Khamzat. I think Khamzat don't able to use his wrestling made him look like an average fighter. Even his coach yelled at him not taking Burns down. I think he wanted to go out there and strike for the majority of it. Joey, do you think Khamzat respected Burns' ground game too much? Too much. He was having success with the takedowns. Hold on. Thank you for 7 months of membership, MMA Ref. Too much having success with the takedowns and getting the ground and pound. I doubt he would get submitted. I think he kind of wanted to strike, honestly. It seemed like that. It seemed like he wanted to strike. I mean, Khamzat won round 3, so his cardio couldn't have been that bad. Exactly. Where Burns couldn't take him down at all. Yep. You already know the Discord's fire. Happy to have you there. Hit the like button. Yep. Hit the like button. Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan 3. That's the only fight to make. Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan 3. I think that's, you know, just to round out the end of the UFC 273 post fight. Volkanovski, Holloway 3. Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan 3. Khamzat Chimaev versus the winner of Usman versus Leon. Or if the UFC really wants to get crazy, book him against Usman this summer. I think he didn't know rounds, to be honest. Maybe translation screwed it up. I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about here. Do you think Khabib beats Burns? Burns is at welterweight. I don't know. I guess so at lightweight. I'll say he does at lightweight. It's hard to say. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I enjoyed UFC 273. I enjoyed discussing it with you guys. I'll have more content coming this week. Maybe not anything tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure yet. I got a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow. But, guys, keep an eye out for the videos. I appreciate your support. I see it. Thoughts on Yan saying he won rounds 1, 2, 4, and 5. He definitely didn't win round 2. So that's delusional. I forgot to read that message. I apologize. Shout out to French Fries. I think he's the one to... Yeah, I got sidetracked and then I forgot there was a message. Sorry about that. But I think that's delusional. Yan is disconnected from reality if you think he thinks he won round 2. So thank you for the 7 months of membership, MMA Ref. Thank you everyone who joined me on the UFC 273 post-fight. If you're watching this replay and you have any questions, comment them down below. I'll either respond to you or next live stream, the live chat Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We can discuss it then. I appreciate every single one of you. Enjoy the rest of your night. I can't wait to see you guys later this week during the live chat. I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to talk about coming out of UFC 273. What's next for Khamzat? What's next for Aljamain Sterling? What's next for Volkanovski? I broke it down as much as I can tonight, but obviously as the days go on, I rest up a little bit. I rewatch some fights. I'll reevaluate all my opinions. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Again, don't forget to like the stream, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night.